Hello and welcome to all my Turner Syndrome sisters and friends. I want to welcome you to this very first short devotional, the Chrysalis 2021 Virtual Retreat. I'm so happy to be able to spend some time here with you. And I just want to share a few thoughts today with you that I think will inspire you and maybe even challenge you a little bit. My name is Pennie Boyer. I have the privilege of sharing some inspirational thoughts with you during the Chrysalis 2021 retreat. And I think that the theme of unmasking was picked by popular vote. And I am so happy to see that because that's reassuring for me because I know that I'm not the only one who has struggled with hiding behind masks and being too afraid to let people see the real me. So I promised in my intro video that I would share a little of my Turner syndrome story with you. So I will do that now. I did not get diagnosed with Turner's until I was about 16 years old. I knew there was something wrong with me. Several years before that, I never grew past 4 feet 10 inches. And I waited while all my friends started having their periods, and I never did. So I spent most of my middle school and my high school years trying not to be noticed, because when it was only to be teased and bullied about either being clumsy or flat-chested or being a Christian. So I got really good at hiding because there were also, aside from that, secrets I carried in my heart about what was happening to me at home that I didn't want to share with anyone. But you know what's interesting is that when I talk to anyone who remembers me from those days, they say that I was bubbly and optimistic. But you know what? If I'm honest, I really only remember a lot of anxiety and a lot of tears. So today I want to share a story with you about a woman who also knew what it was like to wear a mask, but she had the courage to take it off when she came face to face with Jesus. And it's the story of a woman who had been suffering with a hemorrhage for over 12 years. And she hears that Jesus is a miracle worker and a healer. And so she wants to come to Jesus as a last resort because she has tried so many physicians and so many medical procedures. She's tired of it. She's been robbed. She has no finances left. Anyways, I love this story because it reflects so much about what it's like to have Turner syndrome. You know, her condition not only made her ceremonially unclean, so it kept her in hiding. It kept her from worshiping in the temple. It kept her from joining her family and her friends in everyday kind of activities. But you know, the other thing that is important to remember about this woman is that her condition made marriage and childbearing almost impossible. So obviously this woman was used to hiding. And I can imagine after 12 years of it, being considered unclean became part of identity, became part of who she was. So I don't know about you, but I can imagine the shame of believing myself to be less than others, having the fear of being discovered and being called out for something that's not my fault, not really understanding what's going on, not be able to do anything about it to make it feel better. So I want you to consider this story for just a minute, and I'm not going to read it directly, but if you want to go ahead and read it after we're done, it comes from Mark chapter 5, verses 25 to 34. So I want to just consider that story with you a little bit. You know, I just find this story so different and unique because, for one thing, of course, this woman is really hesitant, and you can understand why she doesn't want to come out of hiding. She is ritually or ceremonially unclean. So she's afraid of making other people that way. She wanted to really struggle to meet Jesus through the crowd. So she had to try somehow. So either way, she tried to reach Jesus. And even though she knew she probably she shouldn't be in a public place. She was embarrassed and ashamed. It must have just seemed so dangerous and so risky. But for this woman, it was clearly worth the risk. And I love this story because it's the woman in the story who's the active agent. She's the one that decides to come out of hiding and risk being discovered. You know what? It turns out she was discovered. And Jesus knew what had happened to him when it happened. But what happened when she was discovered was not what she expected. And obviously, the woman wanted to be healed, but she wanted it to be hidden. She really would have preferred to be anonymous. And I know what it's like to want to be part of the crowd, but to be afraid to push into the crowd and just to be happy and content being on the edge of the crowd. And this woman is an inspiration for me because she wasn't content just to be on the edge of the crowd. She wanted to push her way in and get her healing from Jesus. When she was brave enough and had the courage to do that, Jesus knew that she touched him. And he looked around as if he really didn't know who it was. But he wasn't doing that because he didn't know. He was doing that for this woman's sake, only she, at that point, didn't know it, because I'm sure she would have just felt desperate and wanted to turn around and run away. Because, first of all, she couldn't stay hidden behind that mask anymore. And if she admitted to what had happened, she would have had to admit that she had compromised the purity of the other people in the crowd. She would have also likely had repercussions and reprisals from the religious leaders for her even being out of her house. So I am sure that even, she recognized she had experienced divine power, but she knew that she had also not asked for permission. She had, in a sense, stolen her hearing. So for all of those reasons, I am sure that she would have been totally afraid to come out of hiding and admit. But you know what? Jesus knew all of those things, and he wanted her to understand that what he had done for her was something that was gracious, and it was a gift. It wasn't something she had stolen. But neither was it something that she could experience anonymously. She couldn't go back into hiding after experiencing the healing that she had received from Jesus. So despite all of her fear and her trembling, this woman chose to tell the whole truth. So I admire and respect this woman so much, because she could have escaped back into the crowd. She didn't have to talk to him. She didn't know that Jesus was going to be as gracious as he was, but he was. She had to just trust him and believe that what she had heard about him was true. So her willingness, of course, to confess what was going on with her was just part of her faith and her courage. And the really neat thing about the end of the story is that he calls her daughter. Jesus addresses her as daughter. And this brings her back into a relationship with him and into a relationship with all of her family and the rest of her community that she had not experienced in over 12 years. He acknowledged her faith, and he also reassured her. It's the only time, if you look in scripture, it's the only time he addresses a woman directly as my daughter. And so this to me is something that is really special. And I know as you're thinking about this story, I want you to understand that Jesus offers the same thing for you. This woman in the story knows what forced isolation is all about. She experienced it for 12 years. I know that she would understand what it means not to be able to come out of our homes and be in lockdown for a while. So this is something that she could relate to. She instead, though, didn't use it as an excuse when she wanted to approach Jesus, when she knew that she could have her healing. She knew she needed to approach Jesus and get past that fear and the shame. And so I'm kind of wondering if there is something that you're struggling to get by today, if there's some sort of fear or shame or anxiety. And you know what? If you're just kind of getting tired of that and you're ready to do something about it, I think you're in exactly the right place, because I think this is a good thing. Actually, it means that when you're feeling that need for change and just kind of squirming in your seat, it means that you're not satisfied with the way things are, in that your chrysalis is getting to be a little bit too small and a little bit uncomfortable, and it's time to break out and come out of hiding. And so that's exactly what Jesus is asking us to do. He's asking us to come out of hiding, to come out of our comfort zones, and to risk taking hold of the promise that he has for us of new life. He promises that we can live the life that we were created to live if we are willing to take the risk and take the mask off. I know how risky that can be, and I am just excited for everyone, because this is a place that we can do that, where we can learn how to do that. And I am just so happy to see what's on board for the next while and to be able to spend some time with you. This is what Chrysalis 2021 is all about. We are getting ready for God to do something new in our lives. And our comfortable hiding spots are no longer good enough. We long to fly free, but sometimes we're not sure how. So during our next time together, I want to share a little bit about the topic of healing. And I hope that you'll watch for it, because I look forward to sharing a little more of my own journey towards healing with you in a way that will inspire and encourage you. So I would love to say that I've enjoyed spending time with you today, and I will sign off for now. And I look forward to the chance of being able to spend some more time with you next time. So bye for now. I hope you have an awesome day.